6, we're back again. Kristi and Katie, your crime time friends. Stories, justice, laughs collide. True Crime Squad, come join the ride. Grab the clues, let's take a stand. For victims' voices, hand in hand. True Crime Squad, it's time to shine. Season 6, your turn, your time. True Crime Squad, where justice meets hilarity.
Hey everybody, welcome to the True Crime Squad. I'm Kristi Brower, here with my sister, co-host, and partner in all things crime, Katie Weaver. Hey Katie.
Hello.
How's it going?
Oh, it's going just fine. Beautiful day. We started with rain,
Monday.
but yeah,
we've had rain most of the day.
Yeah, it's been a rainy, weird. Actually, I went out with Scott on inspections today, and it was really misty and rainy and
pretty.
Mystical when we first headed out. It was beautiful.
Ooh, that's
And then
awesome.
one of the houses that he was inspecting is it's way back in the cottonwoods, and like you have to drive in a big long private drive and stuff to get to it. And there was a whole herd of deer around that house.
Ooh, how
Some
cool.
with mamas with little ones. Oh my God, it was so cute. I could have sat and watched them all day long. They were so cute.
That's really cool.
We'll take it. Yeah.
I love that this time of year when you see all kinds of stuff like that. That's really fun.
Yeah, so I have absolutely no complaints. Good stuff.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, True Crime Cat Sandy is here with us as well because, she rarely misses a show. She comes and stands at my office door sometimes on non-show days and then looks at me like, hello, don't we have a show? My people are waiting for me. Yeah, it's really funny. Like I don't know. Sandy gets a lot of stuff confused, but she's going to be 15 this summer. So,
Yeah.
She gets confused sometimes. But yeah, sometimes she's very insistent that we should be going in and doing a show on like a Saturday. I think it's funny.
She's more of a looker than a thinker, but
she is.
She's 15.
She is. Yeah, she is. And she says, my people await. Hello.
That's right.
Yes.
Well, True Crime Dog Luca is here as well. He forced my office door open after it was shut, and forced his way in here. So I'm hoping he doesn't bark, but we'll see. But he insists on being in here. But if I ever try and pick him up and like show him off on camera, he gets very embarrassed. So we'll respect that and not make him be famous. But
it's so funny. Sandy's like, she'll
funny,
show you her butthole if she wants to. And your dog won't even show your face.
Right? Yeah. Big difference. Fiona, you guys, is killing us. She's blowing her coat.
Oh my gosh.
This is our sow, our mini pig. And I feel like I have a picture I took you guys and never showed you. She is blowing her coat in the funniest way I've ever seen. She has this, like her mohawk is intact and then all of her sides are bare and her face is bare and her butt cheeks are bare because she's always rubbing them up against the fences and stuff. And then she has this big fringe of hair around her belly. She absolutely looks hilarious. She's killing me.
She does. She does. I saw a picture you posted the other day, or a little video, and I was just dying laughing.
Oh yeah, we made a birthday video for our nephew. Oh yeah, I've got a picture of her. Okay, I'll pull it up and show you guys. She's even worse now actually, but yeah, she is looking rough. Now Zig is also blowing his coat, but he's not as he's like a white and pink, and he's kind of a polka dot pig, So he doesn't have, when he blows his coat, like right now his whole face is naked, which is pretty funny, but he's not nearly as wild as Fiona is, but she's killing us.
That's hilarious.
I've never seen her blow her coat in this order before. Usually the mohawk goes first.
Yeah.
So I'm a little shocked.
Well, she finally got synced up with the seasons correctly, too.
Yes.
It's taken her like 6 years or something.
Right? She was blowing her coat in the fall, which was dumb. And this time, really, I mean, she grew out the most beautiful mohawk. I mean, she's just really, she's been looking beautiful. But at any rate, sorry, if you do anything graphic-wise on the internet, sites just keep changing their format of pictures. And then they're incompatible with other things. And good Lord, it's so frustrating. Anyway.
You just have to
stay
ahead
go.
of it. Oh, there she is.
So she's even more naked now than she was in that picture, but she's just hilarious. She's killing me. She comes marching into the kitchen 2 or 3 times a day to say, "Hey, y'all, you got any more of that whipped cream or those carrots?" Her treats of choice. I gave her a beet, a slice of a fresh beet the other day. I don't know if she's never had one before. She's really funny when you give her new food. She's very interested. She'll get a really surprised look on her face. And she did the funniest thing. She ate it and she was like furrowing her brow and like, I don't know. And then she opened her mouth and went, eh. I was like, oh, did you not like this? And then she ran over and drank a whole bunch of water. So I was like, oh, she did not like it. But I had some more that I'd saved for her. I'd trimmed the ends of some beets that I baked or roasted. So I'd had some set aside for her and Zig if they wanted them. So I offered her another piece and she gobbled it down, but
she just wasn't so sure.
The gag and the water, I mean.
Oh, that's so funny.
She kills me. Anyway. So that's where it's at. Yeah.
She does look like she has her owners trained, and that is because she does stars good. You are correct about that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you all know what we're going to talk about because y'all want us to talk about it, and that's the plan. We're actually going to watch it together, and we're gonna pause throughout and talk about it. But this is Lori Vallow Daybell's latest interview with Arizona Family. It is her response to her conviction last week. I am so curious as to how or why they're letting her do all these, like the jail is letting her do these interviews. It's interesting because it doesn't always happen this way. And I don't know if it's because she's her own attorney and so she can say that she can do them. I don't know. But many of you have seen it. It's gross. She's gross. We all know it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's
Thank
a
you,
lot
Rosie.
to talk about. Yes, thank you. The super chat is on. Thank you all so much for being here too. Lots of you here in the chat. We appreciate you very, very much. But let's get right into it. We're gonna play it. We're gonna just stay on the screen and pause it here and there and talk about the ridiculousness of all of this. So let's do it.
There you go. I mean, at least she has to stay in her jail jammies.
Yeah.
I'll make sure everything's kind of squared up.
Height of her glory.
Enough room.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. We're good? You guys good? Yep. Cool. Well, it's been an interesting 2.5 weeks.
Has it only been that long?
Yeah.
Has it been like
feels a little longer, I would say.
Yeah, it went fast.
It went fast. Guilty. Did you expect that?
No.
Not at all.
I mean, obviously I knew that's a possibility. Yeah. So it was a bit of a surprise, actually.
What made you surprised that it went that direction?
I mean, I shouldn't be surprised knowing what I know about the judicial system and how it works. So it still was. Just you were there, so
It was.
from what happened, I was surprised at that outcome.
And we didn't really see any noticeable reaction from you or really anybody else in the courtroom when that verdict was read. When you did hear it, what was your first thought?
So it's not a secret that I had a near-death experience, right? I talked about it at my sentencing. And when you have that
Seriously.
experience and you go to the other side of the veil, you understand, you have a life review. You see your whole life, everything that happened to you. And you see what's important and what's unimportant. And you see what matters in life. So what matters in life is...
Okay.
I already want to punch her.
Yeah. Like,
First of all,
gross. What?
You're surprised? Really, Lori?
I
You
don't believe her for
represented
1 second.
yourself, and you're surprised?
Oh, she's pretty clear in here that she thinks she did a pretty good job too. She says that later, and you're like, really? Because yikes, right? Kristi, no reaction noted because she's nonchalant. Yes, she is. But
Super
is it
nonchalant.
so, Lori, to immediately fit in her NDE here as though it is relevant at all?
Right.
It is not. But you got to hear the rest of this because it's nuts.
is how you react to things, how you treat other people, and the love that you give while you're here on earth. And that's it.
So you felt not
That's
reacting was the best call in that moment?
No, I felt like I should have joy in every situation, which is what I was taught to do in heaven.
So you had a list of witnesses you could call, your parents, your sister, even your brother again, but you chose not to. And I think you resting.
She literally said that the only things that matter in life are things like how you treat people and the love you give.
Yeah.
She's a quadruple murderer. She actually I know she does. She's crazy. Okay.
She's crazy, but I have to say, I love Brianna. I think she's doing an amazing job.
She is incredible. All the props to her.
In this whole interview, the boldness and braveness she has for the questions that she asks blows my mind.
Yeah.
I also think it's interesting that she speaks to Lori with such a even playing field. Like she doesn't necessarily piss her off. I mean, I'm sure she has her moments, but she keeps her pretty even keeled. Whereas, you know, she was so flirty and silly and weird with Keith. With Brianna, she's just pretty even. And Brianna asks her some very pointed questions. I'm very impressed with her. Yeah, her interviewing skills are excellent.
Yes, they are. And it's so much a good example of the way that Lori thinks that she can influence men.
Yes.
But not women.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. No, she has never verified her NDE, Ladybug. And as a matter of fact, her family members have come out and said they have no idea what the hell she's talking about.
Yeah, this is news to them. Yep.
Yeah, this showed up, you know, when she decided that she was, you know, going to be a goddess and all that stuff. So,
well, it was the NDE train that started with, oh, for God's sake, you know.
Yeah.
Julie Rowe.
Julie Rowe.
It started with Julie Rowe. Chad published Julie Rowe's books all about her NDEs. And then before you know it, Chad also has 2 NDEs that his family had never heard shit about. The next thing you know, Lori's got one too. Yeah. You get an NDE and you get an NDE.
Yeah, but remember, all of this starts with that book, Visions of Glory.
Yes.
Which is an entire book full of NDEs, supposedly.
Yes.
So, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. All right.
Without calling anybody was a surprise to everybody who had been following the trial. What went into that decision?
So did you read any of the motions that were filed precluding my sister and my mother from speaking about certain subjects?
Some of them, yes.
And then did you read any of the motions that were precluding me from asking certain questions to the law enforcement?
Yes.
So, and did you see all the people that they struck from my witness list?
Yes.
Okay, so
who did that leave you with?
That's what I'm saying. In the judicial system, the way that it works is they really don't let you put on a defense. They just don't. They don't let you put on your defense the way that you want to present it. So you think, and this is what I thought too, because you're naive when you go into it, right? Like, I didn't know, I was 46 years old the first time I was ever arrested. I didn't know how the system worked. I didn't know any of that. So you think they get to tell their side and you get to tell your side. And you think that's the way that it works. And it doesn't. It doesn't work that way at all.
No, Lori, it's that you have to be able to prove it. You don't just get to say whatever the fuck you want, and neither does the prosecutor.
You also didn't subpoena in time. Yes. And also, you can't just call people for the fun of it.
Right.
You have to have a reason to subpoena people and put them on the stand. And you didn't. And when the judge asked you about certain people, because the state was pretty dubious about why these people were being called, you couldn't answer the question.
She just said, oh, things. She said things a lot.
Yes, things and stuff and...
Just stuff and things.
I can't give away my entire defense. Babes, there are no surprises here.
Right. This
isn't
trial
TV.
Time.
Yeah. Ugh. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so bizarre. And she really thinks that it was her right to just get on and she and her witnesses just say whatever the hell they want with no actual evidence of those things. Yeah. And yeah, you're right. The criminal justice system does not allow that.
No, it does not.
So, yeah.
And in a high profile case like this, there's money and jobs and things that are going on way behind the scenes that nobody sees. I mean, what you saw, it's even interesting. So think about this. What you saw, how many different things did you see than what the jury saw? Because you see the arguing of motions. You see all the things that the prosecutor's saying behind the scenes, and they don't get to even see any of that. So it's the way that the system works, and it's what it does. And so, yeah, they precluded me basically from having a defense. They precluded you from talking about the things that would be most important to prove your case. So if the judge precludes all those things, what are you supposed to get up and say?
I guess in your case, though, you could have testified.
That's true.
Why not?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of reasons. The way that the system works, if I were to really explain, because now being behind the scenes of the system, I mean, obviously you see things differently, but it's very interesting what the state is allowed to do. So if you put on any kind of a case, okay, any kind of defense, one person, like one detective, say the detective Moffat that they didn't put on the stand, right? I really wanted to put him on the stand.
You wanted to cross-examine him.
Well, he was the case agent for the first, year and a half or something like that. So he's the one that talked to everybody. He's the one that found out all the information. And they didn't put him on at all. And I think that was because of the exhibits that I was proposing were mainly of him, right? So they didn't put him on at all.
They were so scared of you, Lori. Oh my God.
Oh no!
This will make or break her case.
I mean, she's not wrong in that they didn't want him on the stand because he's the guy that he was the case agent. He's the guy that didn't go, oh, hell, this was a murder and do something about it for sure. But there's nothing that he could say that really would change the fact that they did have evidence. It took them way too long to charge her, but they did have evidence of the crime.
Well, when she's talking about them saying things that she couldn't ask the police, that was to protect her. Right. She's such a liar. She couldn't ask the police why it took them as long as they did to bring charges.
Right.
The reason she couldn't ask that, in part, is because, and there was one moment where she asked, I can't remember which one of the officers, if he had interviewed her, and he said,
yes,
I couldn't.
Right.
Why couldn't he? Because she was already incarcerated in Madison.
Yes, and
that's why he couldn't
for a different case
question her at that time. And so that was the thing. They couldn't talk about her prior bad acts or future bad acts at that point. They couldn't talk about those things. Detective Duncan, thank you, Racky. That was why she couldn't ask those questions, because it was opening the door to something that wasn't supposed to be opened. That was protecting her. But do go on, Lori, for real.
But she, she's going to be the victim in every situation, of course, and just continuing that here.
Because they didn't want me to cross-examine him on the stand. So if I put up anybody, if I put up one person, then they get to put on a whole nother case after that. They get to put on a rebuttal case after that. So they can, and I think this is like the MO of the state. So this is how trial works. Like they put on their case, and then you put on your case, and then they can go back and put on a whole nother case. Like they kind of save it for the end. And so there's.
Let's get real here. What they can do is put on a rebuttal witness to rebut something that her witness said. It's not a whole nother case. It's simply a rebuttal.
Right. For example, if she were to have been able to get her witness, her expert witness that she wanted.
Yeah, the cell phone guy.
Had she been able to get him, the state could have brought their own cell phone witness on to rebut what he said. Right. They can't put on a whole new case. That's just not even
they get one witness.
True at all. Well, or they might get a few, but they don't get to relitigate the whole case. That's just not at all true.
No. Yeah, she stretches everything to make it look like she's she's real picked on here.
Strategy involved, and there's I think of couples retreat. You know, I'm a big movie buff, so I think of things, and I think I've studied yoga and Tai Chi and the art of war. I mean, that's kind of like, it's crazy what really is going on behind the scenes.
So you didn't want Trina K to get back up there and present a lot more after if you were to have testified?
I didn't do it for that purpose. I just knew that that is a possibility.
We were talking to the jurors after the verdict, and they had a lot of interesting things to say. One of them...
I would be really interested to hear what they said. I didn't get to hear any of that, so I've been sleeping.
So one of them thought not guilty until closing arguments. Do you feel like you did not do enough in closing arguments to have convinced that juror to keep that decision?
I don't think that it was my job really to convince them. I was just trying to present it from my side, you know.
A lot of them had the same questions that we thought. So just to kind of bring you into what affected them the most.
Sure. I'd love to hear that, actually.
So all of them sat there wondering, where is Tylee? She's in the body camera footage.
Right.
Why is she not testifying? And they felt that there was a part of the story missing, which they didn't know about your previous convictions, but they were correct.
Did they not know?
They did not know. According to them, they did not know. And they shouldn't have known based on how it
They should have known. And it was weird, right? Because it seemed like Trina K was so talking around Tylee without talking directly about her, you know. So I think...
Because she had to.
Right? Because she wasn't allowed to talk about it because you murdered her, you dumb bitch.
Right.
Oh, my God. It makes me so sick when she talks about Tylee. It makes me so fucking mad.
Well, and the prosecutor was so careful to not open up any cans of worms that could be, you know, put her case in peril. That was her job to do. She says that with so much disdain, like she was doing something wrong. No, that was her job. She was doing the correct thing. She was following the court order.
Right. Right. She was doing exactly what she was supposed to do. But all of this implying, you know, she's implying everyone is so terrible except for her. Yes, the NDE that she has reported supposedly happened when Tylee was born.
Mm-hmm.
Her sister, Summer, has said, I've never heard that story before in my life.
Yeah.
It turned up, you know, in about, I don't know, 2018? Yeah, about 2018.
Yep.
I'm sure that was confusing.
Would you have wanted the jurors to know that she's dead?
I was precluded from giving out that information. So that's the way the law works, right? We were both precluded, so that made it very awkward, don't you think?
But let's say you weren't. Would you have preferred the jurors to know that Tylee was dead?
I don't know that. I think they obviously did know.
They said they learned afterwards. So as they were coming out, people were saying, you can now look up the case. So they were Googling things and they're seeing all these prior convictions.
So you didn't think that that happened during deliberations? Like maybe one person informed all of them that that was the case?
I mean, obviously you and I won't know.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know. I'm not saying I was there.
But they were upset when they found out that Tylee and JJ are both dead. For you, seeing Tylee on the video, I mean, what was that like for you? You were convicted in her death, but we're seeing video of her in that courtroom.
Well, I understand where Tylee is in heaven. I know what she's doing, and I know where she is. And so it's been almost 6 years since she passed away. I mean, this is the catalyst, right? What happened with her and Charles was the catalyst of her killing herself.
Oh, my fucking God. It's so disgusting to me that she does this. Like,
she wanted to blame Tylee throughout that trial so bad, and she did as much as she could get away with, really.
Right.
What happened between her and Charles was the catalyst? Really? What happened between you and Charles wasn't the catalyst, Lori?
And what happened between you and Alex and Charles wasn't the catalyst? And you and Chad? Holy hell.
Mm-hmm.
It is so hurtful to Colby. It is. It's terrible.
It's horrible.
Blaming his little sister who has been dead for 6 years that somehow this was her fault.
Who was an innocent victim in all of this. But yeah, when she says, when Tylee passed away, no, Lori, when Tylee was murdered.
Murdered.
God, she makes me sick.
Right? It's just... But the thing is, she thinks that people believe her. She thinks that people listen to this stuff and go, oh, yeah, I think so. I mean, we all know it's bullshit.
Right.
But she's never going to stop that. I don't think you'll ever see Lori be one of those murderers who decides to come clean one day.
No,
I don't think she ever will.
Definitely not. Mm-mm.
No.
I'd be absolutely stunned if that was the case.
Yeah.
So I was precluded from talking about that. I was precluded from bringing that up.
But the detectives obviously don't say that she killed herself.
I'm aware of what the detectives say, but they weren't there.
So that's what actually leads me to my next question on this. So I know last time you said that there was a domino effect in our last interview that was kind of the cause or the result of all of these deaths of people. And when I asked you about it more, you said, I'll save that for next time. So here we are. What do you mean by domino effect? And was the catalyst of that Chad Daybell?
So because I still have my appeals and another trial coming up, right? I don't want to really necessarily get into the details of it, but yeah, it was a domino effect, one that I was not prepared for. Like what happened with Charles that day, between Tylee and Charles that day, had been building for months. They had been getting into these fights, and I had to separate them physically twice. Tylee and I went and stayed in a hotel twice to get away because she was pushing his buttons like only a teenager can, you know, and when that happened that day, I mean, that's what I was precluded from discussing. I was precluded from talking about what led up to this incident, why it was so intense in those few minutes, why things happened like they happened. And so it was hard for me. It's hard for me to not be able to talk about.
Well, she wasn't precluded from talking about that, actually, but she certainly was precluded from talking about Tylee killing herself.
Certainly.
Can you imagine if she'd popped off with that in court?
Oh my God. It would have been major.
Yep.
Would have been major. But
also,
the other
all
part
of a
of
sudden,
this.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, the other part of this that just grosses me out is the constant implication that she's the only one who knows. Yeah, bitch, because you have killed everyone else who was there.
Mm-hmm.
You are the only person who knows because you killed everybody else. And I include Alex in that.
Yeah.
Because she did. However it happened, I don't know. But in some way, we all know she did.
She was involved. Absolutely.
But now she gets some, to try to be like, well, I'm the only one who knows. Yeah, that's because you're the only one still alive, you dumb bitch.
And that's one of the reasons you got charged, Lori. I mean, come on. Right. But also, to start acting all of a sudden as if there was some huge explosive incident between Tylee and Charles that morning.
That's not even the story she tells. Said. No.
She did say that Tylee came out with the bat and that Charles took it from her. And when he did, he wrestled it out of her hands and she fell on the ground.
Right.
That's the big bombastic moment that caused Charles getting shot. That's not what was said in the past.
No, that's not what she said. That's not what Tylee said. That's not what Alex said.
And it's also not what happened. But boy, Tylee.
That poor kid can't even get a break 6 years after her mother killed her. It's just hideous.
Yep. Let's see. I just wanted to say that Deborah said, no one believes that psychopath. She has no conscience, and she's a compulsive, lying liar face. Indeed.
Yes, she is. Yes, she is.
That it's not hard for me to be able to say what actually happened. It's so hard because you think you're going to be able to get up and just tell what happened, and that's not the way the law works. It's not the way it's written. So nobody gets to do that. I'm in here with these women that have these family tragedies too, and they're family tragedies. Things happen, and they're precluded from telling the story. You're precluded from telling that in court, and the jury never gets to see that. So, and you see all the things that the jury doesn't get to see. I mean, they get very limited information. I mean, you saw how everything I tried to say, Trina K's like, she can't say that, she can't say that, she can't say that, And so, not being a lawyer, and trying this, myself, like, I was always surprised, like, okay, well, I guess you can't really tell your side of the story ever. Like, I guess that's not how it works.
I know with our interview, you reference to family tragedy, and that was something that we heard in your opening and your closing arguments.
Right, absolutely.
But that phrase bothered a lot of people who know what happened in a totality, right?
Who knows what happened in totality besides me? Who
Well,
was there?
I think everybody who's seen that you've been convicted of now
wrongly
four
convicted.
deaths. 4
Wrongly
deaths.
convicted, yes.
So if you say that you were wrongly convicted of the deaths of your children, who killed them?
So you know from my interview with Colby that I told him what really happened. And so that's just what happened.
Can you put that into your own words here?
I could, but I would probably save that for my next trial. So
I want to ask you a little bit about the testimony. Obviously, this
Wait a damn minute. In the Brandon Boudreaux trial, she's going to explain how somebody commits suicide, somebody accidentally died, somebody overdosed,
Right?
somebody was
no,
killed
she's
for
not.
self-defense. I don't think so, babe. I don't think
No.
so.
No. She's just mad that she couldn't just stand up there and let her ass off and that everyone would just believe her. That is what she wants. That's what she expects.
Mhm.
That everyone is going to believe whatever she says.
Yep. Yep.
Being the last woman standing does not mean you're going to tell the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And it's definitely not the case with this bitch.
Good point, Irene. He said. Now she'll blame Tylee in a case that had nothing to do with her, right? She'll blame
Mhm.
Tylee in a case that happened 6 weeks after Tylee died.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably correct.
Right?
Holy Lord.
was your first time. I mean, you're not an attorney. What was that like cross-examining people for you, getting up there and having to be able to put into words your questions properly? You got a lot of objections and kind of had to revamp there on the spot. What was that like for you?
it's harder than it looks.
Sure.
It's harder than it looks. It's stressful in a way. Like your brain has to be going 100 miles an hour. You know, I've been in jail for over 5 years, almost 6 years, so you don't really have to use your brain very much in jail. So
It's a good place for you then.
Yes, it is.
Mathlete or something, you know, you're having to think all the time. So it was interesting. It was different than I thought it was going to be.
No, I'm sorry. You are not a mathlete, Lori. Mm-mm.
No, and you never were, honey. You never were. You may have been the mastermind behind all this bullshit, but you can see how well you did.
Lori, we saw your briefs. You spelled your own name wrong. You spelled your sister's name wrong.
Yes, you did.
Case closed.
Yep.
It's difficult.
What was it like facing your brother for the first time in years?
Yeah, that's a good question. You know, it all happened so fast. I'm still really kind of processing. I mean, yesterday was the first day I slept in like 3 weeks or so. So today I slept into a little bit, and I knew you guys were coming. I was like, I better get up because, you know, I knew you guys were coming. But it was different than I thought.
Did you think that your interactions with Adam were positive between the two of you in the courtroom?
I didn't really think anything at the time. I was trying to be in just lawyer mode and kind of do my job at the time. You know, it's hard because you have, being your own attorney, right? You're obviously emotional, and women were obviously more emotional than the men who get up and
Oh, I hate you. Shut up right now. No. Just no to that.
do it. But I tried to mostly be in attorney mode and try to stick to that.
Well, and that's an interesting point, because I think the difference that we saw with you versus if you had an attorney was sometimes there were personal aspects. For example, the green chili chicken enchiladas. That became a huge part of this that I don't think anybody had on their bingo card that was going to be part of this trial. But obviously an attorney would not have started going into that. Why bring that up, and what was that interaction between you and Adam like?
So I don't know. I mean, it was different when it was up there with him because, you know, you've known him your whole life. You know, I was going to come in and say, you know, I'm funny. I'm always doing movie lines. Our whole family is like that. We're big on movie lines. Like Summer and I will text back and forth in total movie lines without any words ever that are our own, you know, just quoting back and forth. And so I wanted to come in and ask Adam, who is Ernest T. Watson? And see what his reaction would be. Because there's no way he couldn't laugh, you know.
No, but he seemed annoyed on the stand.
Yeah, well, he would laugh
think?
because that was the name that he called himself when we used to play school when we were little growing up.
But it wouldn't be relevant, Lori, would it?
No, it doesn't have anything to do with anything. Just like the green chili enchiladas. She will not answer a single question.
Mm-mm.
Not a single fucking question.
Mm-hmm. And yes, thanks for saying that, Brianna. Yes, he was very annoyed on the stand, and he hates you a lot. I mean, that was really super clear. Yes.
That was like his nerdy name for school when we played school. So I thought that would be funny. But I was trying to be, I mean, it's obviously a serious situation, but it's hard with my own family to be serious because we're really a joking family. And so
Would you call you?
No, correction, bitch. You were a joking family. No one's
Yeah,
joking with you now. And you're literally on trial for murdering Charles Vallow. They're not up on the stand joking with you. And had Summer been on the stand, she wouldn't have been joking with you either. Nobody's joking. Good Lord.
You destroyed your families all the way around you. And none of this is funny. None of this is jokey. Ugh. God, she's gross.
The way she acts like all of this water isn't under the bridge with her family. Like she's still just thick as thieves with them. Is crazy.
It is. Yes, Okaroons. Yeah, the voicemail from Summer.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Or the recorded call.
Yes, the recorded call. Yeah.
Oh my God, I know. Poor Summer. It was so sad how desperate she was. It's
Yeah. And Adam estranged though now?
not really necessarily.
Okay.
Yeah.
That kind of the personal part of this, I want to touch on a little bit more of that in the testimony. So it seemed from a totality standpoint that some of the testimony that bothered you the most was talking about Charles dating other women, specifically with Nancy Jo Hancock, but you also referenced it in your cross-examination of Detective Duncan. Why did that aspect bother you so much?
I think it bothered me that much. I think it surprised me because I wasn't aware of any of that until we got the discovery.
You did not know he was dating a
Liar, liar.
No.
But you were having the affair with Chad Daybell, so how does that,
You can say affair,
Right
but Chad
there.
is really just my best friend.
at the time?
Yes.
But then you got married
Oh
a
my
few months
God.
later.
Correct.
So you,
Okay, stop it right now.
Oh my God.
Would you write the James and
fucking liar.
Elena story? Well, actually, for anyone ever, let's be real. But would you write the
Right.
James and Elena story for your best friend?
Yeah, no. That you are such a lying bitch. And like, you really think we don't all know, Lori? We've all read those disgusting text messages. Nobody ever wanted to have to, but we have.
You be
We've
having
seen
loin
them
fire
now
with your
in
best
3
friend?
trials.
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
Shannon
all of
said,
that.
best friends always have sexy portals, I hear. Right?
Yeah, I heard that too. I did hear that.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh,
Yeah, the dancing videos, just sending them to your BFF. Yes.
right?
But yeah, the reporter is so damn good. I love her that she's so
She
willing to
is.
say the things. Yeah.
She is. She's doing a great job.
you were just friends, according to you, with Chad before Charles' death.
Correct.
And then only romantic things started after Charles' death.
Correct.
Do you still to this day believe that Charles was a dark spirit, a possessed spirit named Ned?
That's a whole thing that has been way misconstrued.
Can you clear it up?
Oh, has it?
Probably not in the 5 minutes we have left.
Obviously, I have to ask, right? Because so much centered around the religion part of this, including these Nephi texts. The Nephi texts, I think, became possibly the crux of this trial, and it also was what affected the jurors most. They felt that some of those text messages between you and Alex were some of the most damning evidence in this.
Is that what they're saying now?
That's what they're saying now.
Interesting.
So how do you describe the Nephi texts?
So, yeah, they've been totally and completely misconstrued. So I explained that somewhat in my closing.
No, you didn't.
You know, that's their job. So the prosecution, the state, they're not there, right? They receive all this information and then they make up a story that goes along with whatever information that they have, right? They make it up. It's a made up story. They weren't there. They didn't experience it. So they have no idea. They have to make up a story and then they have to stick to it. And then they put that out to the media, and then they put their narrative out, and then they stick to their narrative. So you've heard this for 5 years, but it's very
Are we kicked off?
misconstrued.
So what is it?
So when you're speaking spiritually to someone else who understands spiritual things, so say Chad, for instance, right?
We're still
Chad had a
live.
near-death experience. He's had 3, actually.
Yeah, looks like YouTube suspended us.
What the hell? Since when? React videos are allowed.
Yeah.
Shit.
Well, what do you want to do?
Let's just go out and go live right now and just go live in a second stream.
Okay. Should we not finish this?
Yeah.
Let's just talk
Apparently
about
not.
it. Okay.
Okay.